So it's mid-July and I want to show you how my food forest looks in Campile. This is its 4th year. I planted it in 2021, most of the plants you see. And as you can already see, most plants have grown so much, it's incredible. Like this very tall Polonia tree that you see over there, it's at least 10 or 11 meters tall, I think. It's impressive. But we go there next. We start with the vegetable garden, which does okay. And yesterday we actually had a pretty big thunderstorm with lots of rain, which was a pretty good surprise. Because we are in crisis mode here in Corsica. It hasn't rained basically this last year, so everything is very dry. Here I have some broccoli. They are starting to produce a bit. Some salad, which is suffering because it's hot. This is kale, purple kale. This is normal kale, and this is another kind of cabbage that I mistakenly considered to be a kale plant, but it's not. This is salad, but it's flowering. I have to get rid of it. Then I have zucchini, basil, sweet potato. They're still small because I got a surprise delivery 1 month or so after my initial delivery. I also have bell pepper, green bell pepper, carrots, beets. Here's a bit chaotic, but okay. Onion, strawberry. Let me show you how it looks like from the side. I just put those sticks next to the bell pepper plants because they got really hit by all the storm or the rain yesterday and the wind. And from this side, it looks pretty nice, pretty diverse, and I'm really happy about this vegetable garden this year. Then let's go to the food forest. So here you can see how tall these Polonia trees are. By the way, I have lots of raspberries that you can see over there, and they are really hanging down because yesterday, as I mentioned before, we had a lot of stormy weather. So I'm gonna attach them so they are straight again. And because now they are hiding all the strawberries. As you can see, there are 2 rows of strawberries down there, and they are hardly visible anymore, at least one of the rows, because those raspberries, as you can see, they have taken over all the row. So I'm gonna attach them and put them straight. This is an apple, by the way. Also a very, very tall apple tree, already at least 6 meters tall. Again, 4 years old. As you can see here in this row, you have quite a lot of Polonia for the shade, because those red fruit things like plants like raspberry and strawberry, they really like shade here in Corsica. And then within the tree row, I also planted another apple tree over there, and another one at the end of the row over there. And here on this side, I also have Szechuan pepper tree, which are really growing very fast, and they are really loaded with peppers this year. Last year they had some, but this year they are really exploding. By the way, look at those nettles. They are huge. They are 3 meters tall. And here you can see all these nice peppers, the Szechuan peppers. Let me try to find some better light in this. So really loaded this year. I'm really happy about that. Here you see the row from this side. So all the strawberries also, they are still flowering and they are still producing. They are down there. And oh yeah, let me just zoom in on those raspberries. Look how many there will be. Everywhere there are big clusters of flowers, or almost fruits. And I find it pretty early actually. Yeah, I find it pretty early because normally it's later in the year, in my opinion. In my memory, I should say. Here you can see the entire row of strawberries has gone because they are all hidden underneath the raspberries. And I'm gonna attach them soon. Here, by the way, you see the raspberries that are forming. And yeah, looks pretty green to me. Pretty fascinating. stuff going on. Here I have some Paulownia wood from cuttings that I did a few months ago. And this here is another tree line with gooseberries, and I really love gooseberries. Here you can see some of them, some of the last ones. They actually have really produced very well this year. I got an entire row of them here, and some more plants in the food forest, or in the syntropic food forest part, so the part I just showed you over there with all the big trees. This here is much more open because I didn't put in all the Paulownias in this area of the garden, and I didn't irrigate like I've done down there. Here, by the way, also a gigantic Paulownia tree next to an apple tree. Fig that I think I took I found seedling fig. I found many seedling figs, and I planted them a bit everywhere around the garden, more or less. Here you see the remains of my biggest apple tree, which has fallen down, which has broken off. I don't know why. I think because it was too heavily fruiting. It had too many fruits already, so it broke down. Cherry tree. This is a kiwi berry or hardy kiwi. This climbing thing here, you can actually see the fruits right there, and it's growing into this Paulownia tree. Pretty cool to see how it grows. Looks really wild. Then here we have other fruit trees. This is another apple tree next to a Paulownia tree. This here is, how is it called again? Buckthorn, is it? Buckthorn? No, sorry. That's not true. It's a sea berry. I think it's called sea buckthorn. That's how it's called, I think. But it hasn't produced fruit yet. Maybe because I had 3 plants and now I still have 2. Maybe the male or so died. I don't know. Maybe there's no pollination. Or maybe it will still come. This here is loquat tree. Japanese loquat tree next to a Paulownia, next to a poplar, next to a Paulownia. You can see very dense, but they're all growing fine and actually very quickly. This side we have an apple bit in between 2 Paulownia trees, but they're still small. And here in the middle I have eggplant or aubergine, but they're starting to grow slowly but steadily. I have the first one over there. They're a bit late this year, and they are not really doing so well because I haven't really fertilized this area here, and I think I haven't irrigated enough. And there's also, of course, a light effect because there's so much shade in these rows. Everything just grows slower in general. Not everything, but most things. And then we have a plum tree, an apple tree. Actually, I have some mature plum trees, like this one over here, wild, or at least they were already there, and I don't think they are grafted. But they're really nice. They are also ripening at this moment. I have multiple plum trees like that. Here, by the way, you see a row of beans that are starting to flower, and they are climbing up the structure in between the 2 fruit tree rows. Here I have another vegetable alley with beans and some sweet potato here at the beginning of the row over there. And in this row here on the right we have autumn olive, but I think it's another variety that produces fruit. Apple, and here you can see, by the way, this syntropic style plantation. So you have the loquat, which is really shaded and protected by this huge Paulownia tree, and I actually have to prune it pretty soon because it's getting so big. And this is the whole idea about the syntropic agroforestry style. You plant very densely, and many people would even plant denser probably. You can make it as crazy as you like, even with annual vegetables like onions or whatever down there. It's a lot of work, of course, if you do that, and I don't have enough time to do it that intensively. But here already you can see because this is, I would say 4 meters between this Paulownia tree and the next. And so in between we have the fruit tree and another pioneer tree, which is this poplar tree. So you see, very dense, and I can, whenever I want, even now I could actually, maybe I should prune all this biomass and put it around this tree so that it will grow even faster, and maybe also give it a bit more sun, because it's, well, on the other hand, it gets quite some sun because the sun actually turns like that. So there's quite some sun, but it might benefit from even a little bit more sun. Here you can see some of my first apples. Oh yeah, and then here we have purple corn, popcorn type style corn, maize, and it's just finished, I think, more or less flowering. So I'm hoping I can eat some of them in the near future, or at least in a few months' time. That still take at least 2 months. This here is also quite an interesting combination of plants. Here we have Nanking or Himalayan cherry, which is Prunus tomentosa. And then just behind it there's an apple tree. And behind this apple tree there is a willow, which I actually planted for the biomass, but okay, I admit this one I planted it a little bit too densely, I think. Anyway, I could prune it really way back if I wanted to, and maybe I should do this pretty soon. So the apple tree has a little bit less competition maybe for water and nutrients, because it's really close. But on the other hand, they all seem to grow just fine. Then over here, what do we have? We have an apple tree with an apple way up there. I believe this is willow. This is willow. Another apple tree. Also had Juneberry. It's called Juneberry. I ate some of the fruits this year. It was really great. Autumn olive, which is really doing great. It's growing very quickly. Another one. Another apple, another apple. And this here is Jerusalem artichoke. I planted it in 2021, and I've never watered this at all, and it just comes back every year. Pretty impressive. And now let me show you how the Syntropic food forest part looks like from up here. It's also pretty impressive. You can see lots of trees, lots of tall trees. I hope. Oh, it's a bit shady, I think, the video. Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. I have, of course, some more vegetables I can show you, but it's not really worth it. They are not doing that well this year. Oh, by the way, I also have lots of pomegranate shrubs that I haven't mentioned, I think, in this video. They are scattered around the place. I have lots of them. So yeah, I hope this video has helped you to visualize a bit more how food forest could look like. Of course, it's just one option, and which kind of challenges and possibilities you can encounter in such a system. And this year is really great, because as all the trees are already so tall, it really starts to feel like a kind of forest system instead of just rows with some small trees. You actually really enjoy the shade, and you can be here actually even in the afternoon and be in partial shade if you like to. By the way, this is also cool. There's a mulberry tree that's really been taking off very quickly next to feijoa. Oh yeah, and I also have lots of purple sweet potato in the greenhouse this year. So I'm hoping to have a lot to feast on in autumn.